Cormani McClain having behavioral issues at University
You mean
of
Cancer
Florida
McClain?
under Billy Napier after transferring from Colorado. Steve, are you surprised to hear about this? Was Prime right all the time?
They didn't want to believe Coach Prime. They didn't want to believe.
No, you know who's right? I was right. Because some of these Miami fans who just like to say culture, who know nothing about it, they actually wanted this guy back. And yes, Deion Sanders was correct. And he tried to provide some real leadership. And you can argue if he should have been so public, if he should have called him out by name. Maybe, again, but we're in a social media era. Maybe that's the way you have to do it. But Cormani McClain, you know, if you do another season of Last Chance U, Coach, that might be your number one recruit. Maybe that would be great. Cormani McClain, coached by Coach JB.
I would love to choke
the
shit out
that'd
of
be good TV.
You
yell out. He probably lasts about a week. But look, a leopard does not change his stripes.
No.
And none of this surprises me. When the Miami fans were actually like discussing if he should be brought back, I said not in a million years. Not if you want to start becoming a serious football program. Mario Cristobal could not let that come back into the room. And Smitty, there was actually some discussions about that took place, I was told. And eventually the higher up said, no, not our type of guy.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. Like, on another note, I hate when a young man who is super talented has a chance to change their life, they just throw it down the drain. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's done. Who's a 5-star guy coming out of high school. Like, if you're a 5-star cat, man, you have a different level of just a skill set to where as long as you focus and work hard, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a shot at the next level. And he's throwing it all down the drain because he can't be disciplined. It's a shame to see it. But at the same time, I'm not going to say I'm happy it's happening, but I'm glad that there was a lot of naysayers that thought that Coach Prime was tripping, or he just didn't know how to coach him right, or he wasn't managing the situation properly, or he was, whatever the case may be. But now we're seeing that no, this is a Cormani McClain problem. This is whether he's at Colorado, Florida, he's Last Chance U with JB. It's a Cormani McClain problem, and I mean I don't know what's next for him. I don't know if he has to go to JUCO or what's the next step for him. But
I got a different take. I don't believe it is. I believe it's a grown man problem. I don't think kids have changed. I think parents have changed. I think adults and coaches have changed, and I believe the landscape has changed them. I believe we allow it now instead of coach it. Billy Napier is known to be a pushover and a non-disciplinarian. I'm blaming Billy Napier. I'm blaming Billy Napier, a guy that has no Power 5 experience prior, who last year, if you noticed, I did a viral video of a coach actually slapping him and his assistant coach's hands off of him and going back in the game as if, what? I would have grabbed that fuck out of that kid and slung him into the stands. That's the problem we have. We allow this shit, and then the kid went right back out there and played, and Billy Napier is the problem, and his high school coaches were the problem, and his parents and lack of were the problem, and his youth 7-on-7 coaches who sucked his dick instead of told him he's not this god is the problem, and that is the fucking bigger picture in this thing because we keep allowing it, man. So guess what we're gonna do, Smitty? We're gonna keep blaming this kid, but yet a grown man will continue to take him on his team.
Well, guys, here's the thing about his recruitment. Here you go, Steve. Remember this?
Yeah. I wish a motherfucker would knock the hand.
That's Billy Napier problem, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
I mean, look, if you go to the history of common denominator McClain, from the time that he announced his verbal commitment to Miami, it was November of 2022. We were all surprised because we thought he was going to Florida. Then he started acting funny at the end. He kind of jilted Cristobal in a very, I would say, unsavory way. Then the way he made his announcement with Gilly, the kid, that one podcast.
Gilly, yeah.
Gilly's out there barking like a dog on all four knees. Okay. It was a circus. And look, there was some money involved, the NIL. this whole thing's been a bit of a mess. And I still think even in today's game with the NIL and transfer portal, there's a right way and the wrong way to do things. And you still got to get kids that buy in to a proper structure and culture. I don't care what this game is. I don't care what the rules are. And I'm talking about college football. You still have to have a base of kids that have old school, old-fashioned values that will buy into your program. And the same base principles that created winning programs 70, 60, 50 years ago are going to be the same base principles 50, 60, 70 years from now. The only difference is, Coach, I think it's going to be much harder to enforce over a large group of young men.
That's a good point. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
Okay. So unfortunate news, fellas. Breaking news coming out. The father of Kobe Bryant, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, passed away today.
Dang. Man.
Rest in peace. Hopefully they're together. Fucked up.
Rest in peace. Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, man.
Jelly Bean Joe Bryant. God, dog.
They had didn't they weren't they on bad terms too, Steve?
Yeah, they for years, Coach. I mean, this was a decades-long separation. I think a lot had to do with the relationship with Vanessa. So yeah, I hope they eventually made amends, but I had heard that it was pretty bad, this whole breaking apart.
Yeah, I hate to hear that, man. Steve, JB, obviously I'm young, but did you guys have any memories of Jelly Bean at all? Like while he was in the NBA, anything that sticks out at all, or no?
He has a monster dunk over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that you could YouTube. Jelly Bean could play. He would actually be good in today's game because he's a big, tall guy that can handle the ball. He could play basically almost every position outside of center, multi-dimensional, multi-skilled, but never really got major minutes. And then I made a really good living in Europe. And people don't understand that you could actually make a really good living playing professionally overseas, and that's what he did.
Yeah, I get it. Here's the thing. I don't know if I know, Smitty, we got some topics for Steve I want to get into because
yes, sir.
I want to just end this with this. To Bailey's point earlier that we talked earlier about. Everyone talks about Deion being the GOAT and all this old shit and retaining guys. You think he would have let like a Travis Hunter walk away like McClain? Wouldn't he have done the extra effort? And listen, I'm not blaming Deion at all. I've had to cut shitbirds. So if this kid was a shitbird, Steve, then Deion did the right shit.
Well, no, Coach, as the great James William Johnson, and happy birthday to the great Jimmy Johnson. Honestly, I hope you live. Yes, today. So all I got to say about that. How about that, Coach Johnson? But anyway, he's made it very clear. If you are up here, you can be a little bit late. You can kind of screw around a little bit. If you're down here, you better follow every rule to the T. Travis Hunter is up here. Cormani McClain on potential was up here, but based on production and play was down here. So, Coach, there's your answer.
There it is right there. That's a fact.
I just wish we get back to being men again and coaching these dudes hard and not allowing them to escape. Because that's what I think is happening. We're allowing them to escape cussing, getting cussed out, or getting coached hard. And remember, a lot of these kids, Smitty, and you can attest, we played with them and coached them. They don't have the father figure. I am the father figure. And if you escape me, who are you going to? I just think we're doing that shit too.
We're not creating. There's the thing, though. Not only having men, but in your position, Coach, and I'm talking about all college coaches, whether it's JUCO, Division II, Division III, FCS, P4 coaches, your job in a lot of ways, number one is to win games. Let's be honest. It's a business. Your job is to shape young men because a lot of these guys are young boys. You have to shape men, okay? Yeah. And the bottom line is very simple. In a profession where the average career is 3.5 years, you're going to be having a lot more people that aren't going to play football by the age of 24, 25 than you are. So you have a responsibility, and this goes two ways because the players have to stick around to let themselves be molded. You have a responsibility to once in a while be the bad guy, to be the bad cop, to not make it easy. because those same players are going to come back to you at age 35, 40. They're either going to tell you two things. Coach, I wish you were harder on me, or Coach, thank you for being hard on me. It's really that simple.
Yeah. You know, Steve, I've said it. I'm on record on Netflix saying it. And I used to tell my staff, you cannot save them all. We think we can, but we can't. So I understand it. Trust me. I'm not saying that Deion's supposed to save them. You got to cut ties at some point too. And if that was the kid, I just was asking a question. Do you think it would have been as easy to let a guy like that? No.
Of course not, because if he would have played like a young Deion Sanders, you know what Coach Prime would have said, oh, man, I did the same thing, because there are stories in Dallas that Prime kind of did his own thing. I've read the books, and people have kind of said, Prime kind of played his own defense because he was so great. If Cormani McClain would have played at a Travis Hunter level, a lot of those things are swept under the rug or they're overlooked. That is a reality because, again, Coach, you are fighting for your life each week to win games, as is Coach Prime. I don't put any blame on Prime, though. I think he tried to be the guidance. I think he tried to be the male adult in the room. The young man just didn't take it, and I do not believe that is on Deion Sanders.